Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. This one is for Monday the 17th of April, going through until Sunday the 23rd of April 2023. And this is eclipse week, so it's a big deal. It's going to be very, very full on intensity wise in the build up to the eclipse, which happens on Thursday the 20th. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are not going to be quiet days. What I'm going to do in this horoscope, as always, I'm going to go through each day of the week to see how the planets interact with one another, what energy that creates amongst the planets, and how that then influences all of us down here on planet Earth. So these horoscopes are for all signs of the zodiac. It's an overview of what the planets are doing. Okay, so starting with Monday the 17th of April, we've got the moon in Pisces. The moon is the way you feel or what you have natural access to. And in Pisces, it's very much about all the poetic, spiritual, lyrical, kind of romantic, connective kind of things, the things that exist in other worlds. So with the moon being in Pisces, it kind of puts you into intuitive mode. It heightens your imagination. If you're trying to create some piece of art, Monday is a good time to do it and to use that Pisces moon. It then also conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, so it blends its energy together with Neptune. And Neptune is the water planet that rules Pisces. So Monday really is all about the inner world, the intuition, kind of getting answers, doing personal healing. It's about frequency and connection, so meditation, listening to music, anything like that works really well. And then finally, it sextiles Uranus and Taurus. And Uranus is the unexpected. In Taurus, it's practical circumstances which you could have not foreseen. And because the Pisces moon and the Neptune conjunction are there, they really, really help you navigate anything by listening to your own feelings. So on Monday, if you kind of listen to the inner kind of committee that says do this, go for it, you're not going to go wrong. So the water energy here means that I think the day is going to start somewhat slowly. You may feel a little fuzzy and nebulous about things, and that's actually a prompt to go into your intuition and to say, hey, what's going on here? Why is everything so foggy? Can things clear up, please? So it's kind of like a lazy Sunday afternoon vibe, you know, where you're lying around and you're drinking a cup of coffee and you're reading a book, much more so than a Monday morning. But once you do get going, your intuition is really the key thing that's going to help you make fast decisions that work out really, really well on Monday. So Tuesday is now where we're really kind of stepping it up a notch, because the moon goes into Aries at 3:09 in the morning. I always mention this because I like it, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. We have 12, and Pisces is about things coming to an end, seeing the bigger picture. Everything is worked out for the best, right? Aries is the opposite. It's the first sign of the zodiac, and it's like nothing has even started yet. I'm ready to go. I have total belief in myself, and anyone or anything that stands in my way is going to regret it. Love Aries. Okay, so the moon goes into Aries. So immediately it taps you much more into that fiery kind of rebelliousness. The Aries moon then sextiles Pluto in Capricorn. So a sextile is like a harmonious connection, and Pluto is about changing things. It's about rebirthing, and it's about the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's like kind of like Easter even. It's about something being reborn. And in Aquarius, it's the rebirth of ideas. And the Aries moon really connects you with that. It makes you very, very interested in new ideas and your own ideas and how you can use that to implement new things and to change things. Then the moon also sextiles Venus in Gemini, which is so expressive and beautiful and charming and funny. So there's a lot of self-confidence. There's a lot of ability to work intellectually. There's a lot of kind of interpersonal relationships and connections that work well because you just are so charming and you're able to express yourself beautifully. It also then conjuncts Chiron in Aries, and it squares Mars in Cancer. So the conjunction with Chiron in Aries, Chiron is the wounded healer, same sign Aries as the moon. It's my healing is important to me. And the friction with Mars and Cancer, if there are kind of relationship difficulties, I think that may make you feel more intensely than you usually would, you know? No, not you know. What I mean by that is if, for instance, you come home after work and usually your partner kind of gives you a kiss on the cheek and says, hey honey, how was your day? But on this day you come home and it's like, yeah, whatever, I'm busy. You might be a little hurt by that. Usually you might be able to let it go. On Tuesday, that would sting a little bit more just because of our Mars and Cancer kind of connection. It's also a feeling of like, if I'm being disrespected here, watch out, danger zone. Okay, so with the moon going into Aries, things really start to move, the pace really picks up. There's a drive to focus on one particular area of your life and to enjoy it and to build something with it. It's very like, yes, I want to do something. Competing in a serious way or in a fun way, exercising, proving yourself in some sort of physical way, all of those things are going to feel satisfying because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the male principle of drive and strength and power and competition and all these things. So overcoming artistic blocks or blocks in a subject that you're trying to study, that's totally doable on Tuesday. The only thing with the Mars and Cancer connection nearer the end of the day, you're able to get all this good stuff done, right? And be super productive and have breakthroughs. But at the end of the day, there may be a need to be kind of comforted in a physical way. And if you don't get that, that may again sting a little bit more than usual and may result in you feeling lonely. So, I mean, this is a subject I know a little bit about. You get used to like being on your own and stuff. There are certain situations which trigger it, which make it worse. And there are some days where it's just like, oh, this is really, you know, I mean, come on. So we all have coping strategies to kind of deal with those things. For me, I get around people. I go to meetings. I go to, well, not always, I go to the gym. And sometimes it's enough just being around people. Sometimes I talk to people in those settings. And sometimes I even do Zoom meetings. So it's just like, on Tuesday, if you're prone or susceptible to that feeling, just use your coping strategies and implement that because you're a little overly sensitive. Plus, the whole thing is we're building up to this eclipse, right? It's a solar eclipse. It's the solar eclipse has to do with your identity. And now it's kind of gearing up to something huge. And there are going to be questions around the identity and who am I and what am I experiencing and is this right for me? So there's a little bit of frustration and intensity and weirdness in the air. Wednesday, the 19th of April, we've got the moon in Aries still. It conjuncts the sun, your identity that you want to align yourself with. Jupiter, the planet of good fortune and good luck and growth and making things bigger and wonderful. And Chiron, the wounded healer, also in Aries. So on Wednesday, everything is in Aries. It's the only way is forward. The present moment is the only moment that exists. I don't have a past. Which is really useful because like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I think sometimes, sorry, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm feeling a little chatty today, so this might take a little bit longer than usual. What was I trying to say with that? Speaking of chatty, now I've got nothing to say. Okay, so all of those are very much about, yes, being in the present moment, moving forward, overcoming obstacles. And it's kind of diluted because we all do have a past. There are 11 other signs, right? It's not just Aries. All these things balance each other out and work together nicely. But sometimes you need to forget everything and the failures and stuff in order to kind of overcome the initial hurdle and to then do the new thing. That's the beauty of Aries. So we've got loads of stuff in Aries on Wednesday. The energy for the eclipse is building. We've got fire, more fire, 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 fire. And it may be a little bit much. You may feel like, wow, I'm really being pushed here in a direction. It's like, can I just slow down? So element-wise, the element of fire is masculine. So it's urging you to take something that exists within you, a strength that you've been given, and to use it in some way. And I feel on Wednesday that with this huge like drive for the life purpose and feeling the heat and stuff. It's like a giant cosmic widescreen is being turned on, and everyone is focused on it and sees like the best version of their own life that is possible. So I think it's like a cosmic slideshow. Yeah. And it's the build up to the eclipse. It's so extreme here that it's almost like your life purpose burns itself through any blocks in your own mind and sears itself into your consciousness. So if you don't know what you want to be doing, what will give you a sense of fulfillment, what pleases you, Wednesday is absolutely amazing. Because there's so much passion floating around on Wednesday, I think it's best to practice tact and diplomacy when working with other people. Because if everyone's watching the cosmic, silver screen, what? I don't even know what a screen is called. Like a projector thing where I think you get my message. Like a giant TV set is turned on and everyone can mentally see it. Okay. Thursday, the 20th, is the big event. We now have a new moon, so sun and moon conjunct each other. New moon is when the moon is pitch black, pulls in energy, and it's all about the pioneering spirit. It's all about doing things independently. And that may sound familiar now because of all the Aries stuff I've talked about. Then it's a solar eclipse in Aries. So it's not just pioneering. I'm the pioneer, but I'm also the hurdle jumper. I'm also the obstacle breaker. I'm the person who gets things done. It's 29 degrees. So I always think, because in the astrology chart, when I draw up a birth chart, I look at the wheel version. In each house, you can also get it in different versions, right? I use the wheel. And each house is 30 degrees wide. And I always feel when something is at 0 degrees, you get the quintessential nature of that energy without it being influenced by anything else. But when something is at 1 degree or 29 degrees, so at the very beginning of the house or at the end of the house, I always feel it's heightened even more because it's like the last, this is my last moment in this energy. I'm going to, take everything I can from it. If you add, so it's super intense, basically. It's even more intense than it usually would be. Then if you add up 29, it's 11. 11 is the master number of service. And I think this solar eclipse is really about you being able to truly be of service to yourself and committing to, again, and I'm sorry if this sounds repetitive, but building the kind of life that you now know you can have because of the vision the day before. So the Aries moon conjuncts the sun in Aries. That's why the new moon happens. And then the eclipse is when the moon moves in a certain way to darken the sun, and the whole process of their cycles is interrupted, and something is kind of it kind of slips through the cracks, and it remains, and it influences us for the next 6 months. So if you've been through a difficult period of a lack of clarity or a lack of direction, or you're confident, we go through experiences in life. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Sometimes it would be nice to forget certain things that have happened to us so that we have the courage to do things again, which we're now afraid of. But if something has like ruined your confidence, a relationship, or you made redundant at work or something, it all happens, right? We all experience things, and I don't feel so good about myself. Then this is the kind of thing where it's like you can try again, and not only try again, you can try for the first time in earnest. It's amazing. I love it. The moon enters Taurus at 6:30 in the morning. So an hour and 18 minutes after this eclipse, the moon changes signs immediately. The Taurus moon squares Pluto in Aquarius. So it's about how do I now implement practical ideas and do the legwork, the action steps. It's sextile Saturn in Pisces and Mars in Cancer. So I feel supported within myself. When it comes to other people, I'm not so sure right now, and I'm also not that interested. I'm looking at my own mission here. The sun enters Taurus at 2:14 in the afternoon, so a few hours after the moon. And I found that really funny because it's like we've got this major eclipse. It's super intense. It's like, here's your life purpose. Here's all these things you have to or can do and want to do and stuff. And then both of them flee into Taurus. It's like, bye, let's get out of here as quickly as possible. And Taurus is a fixed earth sign. And it's like, let's actually start doing the work immediately. So it's not the most patient of energies here. It's like boom, 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 okay? The Taurus sun then squares Pluto and Aquarius. So what you'll be able to do very easily is find the information that you need to start these buildings of things in your life that you've now agreed upon with yourself. So the keywords of the eclipse, and I'll make a separate video on the eclipse. I'm going to show the charts, and then I'll analyze the chart and really go into a lot of detail. But from what I see of it now, it's going to be pioneering, it's going to be energizing, empowering, being of service to you, to yourself, is going to become a huge priority. And then for the next 6 months, you're able to kind of remember, in a way, the kind of vision of what you want your life to be, and you can start to work on that immediately on Thursday. So with the quick movement of the moon and the sun then out of Aries and into Taurus, it's really, the message I got is, we've got the plan now, let's actually build it. So with all of this being so intense, you may find yourself being somewhat impulsive, motivated, and unwilling to see the risks of potential failures. It's kind of like a blind spot again, which sometimes is required to take these unbelievable risks. So obviously that's a little dangerous. Try and kind of contain yourself long enough to check the facts, but sometimes this overweening sense of confidence is often a problem in everyday life, but sometimes it's really a gift from the universe that allows you to build the impossible. And I had to look up overweening because I used it and I wasn't quite sure, and a synonym for it is arrogance and overbearing confidence. So do you see, the whole thing is too big, and in a good way. And being too big allows you to build something that is gigantic and huge in your life. So the only thing I would warn you about is if you have anger issues, if you kind of on a short fuse, this isn't a time where you're going to be like, oh yeah, of course, forgive, no worries. You might get a little bit irate. Okay. Friday the 21st, we have Mercury going retrograde at 2:35 in the afternoon. Mercury is the communication planet. It's about perspective. It's about exchanging information and ideas. And when it goes retrograde, it appears to go backwards, and communication becomes stifled and more difficult, and it's easier to get the wrong end of the stick. Often it's responsible for communication and transportation. So sometimes, like, the car doesn't start, or the bus doesn't arrive, or the emails don't show up, or whatever it is. It just, communication becomes more difficult. The blessing and the good stuff about Mercury is that you can change your mind about things. And because you have a different perspective and you're forced to find different ways of communicating, you're often able to find a different reality. Like, you see things differently. It's personal growth, it's change. Mercury retrograde happens 3 or 4 times a year. We're meant to grow in terms of our thinking and our mindset and these things. So that happens. Then the Taurus moon conjuncts Mercury and Uranus in Taurus, and sextiles Mars in Cancer and Neptune in Pisces. So the Taurus moon is grounded, is practical. The conjunction with Mercury and Uranus really is, I want to roll up my sleeves and change anything that is problematic in my life and take the practical steps to fix it. Like, you become a contractor, a builder, a kind of plumber kind of thing. And sextiles Mars in Cancer, so still the relationship with other people is maybe a little, you may feel a little misunderstood. Because your dreams are so big, your motivation is so big, your desire to get on with it is so big that if you don't want to stand around and explain something, and then even if you go to the trouble of doing that and then someone doesn't get it, you'll be like, oh, it's that. Like, you throw your arms up in frustration. It's like, listen, I'm busy, okay? Leave me alone. So with Mercury going retrograde, as always, we have an opportunity to expand our mindsets and the way we think and see things. But also life at the same time gets a little bit more annoying, because if you're at the airport and your luggage doesn't arrive, it's annoying. So the communication issues associated with that are a thing from Friday the 21st until the 14th of May. So use that to kind of look at things differently. So a different type of communication emerges though, which is unusual. With all the Taurus stuff, there's a sensuality and there's a focus on body language and kind of connecting with people in non-verbal ways that also allows you to tap into your relationship in a different way and to kind of create a different dynamic in the way you interact with other people, and that could result in a really unexpected and positive shift in your relationships, kind of like who you attract into your life. Saturday the 22nd, we've got the moon going into Gemini at 11 minutes past 12 in the afternoon. So the moon in Gemini is very optimistic. It's very much about I can problem solve. However, it's ruled by Mercury, right? So it's overweening confidence, maybe somewhat misguided, because Gemini is about finding the answers and solutions and going through the doors and presenting and expressing and stuff. If its governing factor, if Mercury the ruler is like, sorry, I'm kind of doing a backslide here, then Mercury sometimes is left with a bit of egg on its face. Sometimes the jokes don't land as well as they usually would. Like everyone else, you're going to have communication issues, right? So with the moon going into Gemini, the thing I love about Gemini is its multifaceted nature, right? It's the twins, so it's about connection and total connection. And it's about using communication to connect. But the twins, like they were in the same womb together. It's a divine connection that is fundamental to Gemini. And then with the energy of Taurus, the day before, and Uranus being in Taurus, I think again it's very much about chemistry now. A different way of communicating. So don't be so certain about the facts, double check those, and anything like that is in writing and stuff, really double check that. But when it comes to, hey, I'm, sitting in the park and this person keeps giving me the eye and smiling at me, then maybe they're trying to express something. Maybe it's not just a facial spasm. Okay. The Gemini moon then squares Saturn in Pisces and it trines Pluto in Aquarius. So the Gemini moon with Saturn in Pisces, the spiritual connection is fabulous. So that, I'm at peace, it's very zen, I feel. And it trines Pluto in Aquarius, so I'm still able to transform what I'm doing by informing myself, getting the right information. But now I really need to double check it. And the safest bet, I think, is to do the research earlier in the week. So if you can manage during the eclipse and all of that stuff. And implement the information that you've already got once Mercury goes retrograde on Friday. Yes. Okay, so with the lovely Gemini and all the body language stuff, relationships work really well on Saturday the 22nd. You'll be happier around other people than you will be alone, mainly because you're probably going to feel chattier and more expressive than usual. So there's a sense of being able to stop for a moment here on Saturday to catch your breath after this really full-on week. And it's a good day to kind of read and study and talk and chat and invent and then teach and pursue these kind of fun intellectual pursuits. But mainly, by fun, I mean things where the facts aren't that important. Like if you're sitting around lunch with friends and you're just having a chat, right? It's not about the accuracy about whether it happened on Wednesday or Thursday. Any of those situations where you really need to be accurate, that's where please be careful with Mercury in retrograde. But connection with other people in informal ways is amazing. And again, Saturday is a chance to decompress and to relax and to chill. Sunday, the 23rd of April, the Gemini moon conjuncts Venus in Gemini, so that's fabulous for romance, romantic relationships. It sextiles Chiron in Aries, so it's like, wow, love as the universal divine healer. which it really is. I got into my first relationship where I really knew I was loved when I was in my 20s. And it was such an important thing for me to feel loved. Like before that, it was like this desperate search. I don't know why. It was awful. And then once it kind of proved something to me that it's very healing to me to just feel loved, you know, for me. No, I'm being, I don't know. I'm not giving it the importance that it really has. I mean, for me, that relationship was so important and still is important because it healed something that I desperately felt I was missing. So Sunday is that kind of moment of I feel healed because of this love, whether it's by another person, which is the easiest, obviously, to feel, or it's through the universe, or it's healing the love you have for yourself, you know. It's so tragic if we don't love ourselves. It's like, no more tragedy, please. Mercury in Taurus, sextiles Mars in Cancer. So, again, that's the physical connection. I wanna be comforted, I wanna be held, I wanna be loved. So Sunday the 23rd is a really romantic day that can be very comforting and peaceful and loving. This can be another person, but to me, yeah, there are the opportunities for these great romantic connections, but it's so personal with Chiron. To me, it feels more like taking yourself on a date. Yeah. Like, you know, when you do something nice for yourself. Like, I remember I was having a really bad time, like, I don't know, I think it was like 12 years ago. And I was in London, and I was really beside myself with worry, and I just like... So, I took myself to a fancy restaurant and ordered 12 oysters. Which I'd never eaten before. But I felt like I need to prove to myself that, do you know what, it's not all terrible. There are things in life that will, I don't know, bring you a brief moment of happiness or whatever. But just change the mindset and do something for yourself, you know? I mean, you may think that's whatever, but to me, my parents used to occasionally take us to fancy restaurants when I was little, and they always used to devour those oysters. I'd never had one, so I just thought anyway, it was a good thing, and afterwards I felt much better and I felt much more encouraged that I could get through those horrible things, and I did. So, amazing. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the physical and sensual aspects of the day, of the previous day, Saturday, Sunday, that still continues. So actually, the whole weekend is a great weekend for a couple's getaway. You know, like to take a trip somewhere together, to stay like in a hotel and like Airbnb, and to have like a really romantic weekend away, to have the best time. So it's a full-on week, but it's also a very gratifying and rewarding week, I think. Yeah. I'll make the video on the eclipse tomorrow. The merchandise shop is hopefully going to launch today. I'm speaking to Robin shortly after this. But I just want to say before I launch that, you know, I made some tarot cards with Los Scarabeo in 2020, years ago, 2020. And I love those cards. But the process of working with those people was just such an ordeal. And this, like, the whole thing has been a delight. It's been a pleasure. It's been super fun. It's just like the process of something is so important in terms of how you then feel about it, you know? So hopefully that launches. It might not, because there's always little things like maybe, you know, this button has to be pressed, or then I have to link it to YouTube and that takes a couple of days, or that one of the designs is still misplaced and we haven't placed it exactly. So the plan is to launch it today. But ultimately when it does, I'll kind of put a notice out and let you know. And then the other thing I was going to mention, was there another thing? No. The eclipse? Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, and then the merch. Yeah, exactly. So I hope you have a wonderful week here. I will speak to you for the daily tarot readings the weekly horoscope next week, and check out that video in the next day or so on the eclipse, because those are really, really important things. And solar eclipse is particularly about, how we operate in the world. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. I hope you have a fabulous week. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to order your reading with me. Excuse me. And in my personal readings, I use astrology, I use tarot, numerology, and my intuition. And I combine all of those. So if you have any questions about what's coming up in future, or your life purpose, or relationships, or certain blocks that aren't working and how to overcome them, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. To draw up your astrology chart, I just need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, that's not a huge issue. There's a process called chart rectification where I can actually work out your time of birth. So that's on the website as well. And then once I have your chart, I can really answer any of those questions for you. So if you would like a reading, please get in touch via the website. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I will speak to you next week. All the best. Take care.